Hello, happy Friday for those of you in career services or job seekers who might be wondering, how do I use AI to improve my work with clients, to help them choose careers, be more successful, find the jobs? That's why we're here. Today, specifically, we're going to be talking about how we use these AI tools and the new AI tools inside of LinkedIn to find jobs and find people. We'll talk a little bit about the recruiter side of it, but I don't have access to that. So we'll just talk about it a little bit and see what all of you are seeing. Feel free to share in the chat, say hello, and let me know what questions you have about the new LinkedIn jobs feature, as well as the new people search that's rolling out. Not everyone has access to all of these yet, so we'll talk about it, and then we'll say what we can do as we watch the things unfold from LinkedIn as it happens. So a few weeks ago, we did a presentation on the new jobs feature in LinkedIn, and I wasn't a fan. But since then, I've heard a few other people talking about a few different ways you can do things. And so I wanted to revisit it, see what all of you are seeing now that it's been out there for a little bit longer, and see how we can help our job seekers. If you haven't been here before, every other Friday, we talk about AI in career services. I'm Marie Zimenoff, CEO of Career Thought Leaders, and you can find us here every other Friday, as well as on Tuesdays. We're on the Career Thought Leaders LinkedIn page and on the Career Thought Leaders YouTube page, where some of you are joining us from today. Hello, Anthony. So good to see you. So let's talk about what is going on. LinkedIn changed their job search feature, and if you haven't been there lately, you may not have noticed that they have a new option for how you search for jobs. And when we go here, and let's just go there on LinkedIn real quick. When we go here and we go to the jobs feature, we're going to start in jobs, and then we'll talk about general search here in a minute. But when you go to the jobs feature, now it's all of a sudden it's back for me to title, skill, or company instead of I'm looking for a job for. Of course, because you want to do a demo, and we can't give you what you want when you're doing a demo. I heard one of our other colleagues talking about this. So let's see if I can get it to do what I want it to do without that. Let's start with the job search from the beginning and see if it takes me into the new job search or the old job search. So I just clicked on jobs over here to see if it will take me anywhere, and it did not. All right, jobs feature, what's your deal? Let's see here. If I start exploring things. Oh, so if you haven't seen it yet, they also have these collections. I don't really know how they define these things. Part-time, obvious. US startups, obvious. Unicorns, are they talking the job or the company? I don't know. Some of those things are a little bit less obvious. And then I've got my job search activity here. I'm going to get rid of all those and see what happens. All right, let's just type in a product management and see what we get. So here you're seeing all of the old features, but you see this new little button that says try the new job search. Let's do it. So this is actually what most people see as their default. I don't know why I wasn't seeing it as my default today, but most people, when they click on the jobs tab, they will get here where it says describe the job you want. And the challenge that a lot of our clients are having with this feature is we are very conditioned to think about I'm plugging things into a place, right? I've got a job title, I've got a location, and I just want to move forward with that. So my thoughts last time we talked about this was give it what it wants, right? Tell it that you want product manager in Denver and see what we get. The challenge with this search is that a lot of people have said that it's way more limited than it was in the old job search. So you could experiment around with that and see what you think. And that it doesn't always put you in the location you want. So I searched the location that I'm in, but a lot of times it will default to the location someone's in and not the location they're trying to search. You can always fix that with this drop down where you can put in the location and the miles. But you'll notice very importantly that the options here change, that we can't look at jobs the same way we could before. Now we're looking at these filters. Under 10 applicants being one that a lot of people are talking about, use that. Then very quickly you can see where you might apply that has fewer applicants. I'd be careful with that because you might be eliminating some jobs that, yes, have more applicants, but not necessarily qualified applicants, because the easy apply feature is subject to the bots. So there might be applicants that aren't real applicants that you're eliminating from the job. Now, how you get back, like let's say I want to go back to the old view, there will always be this switch back to classic view, which I had to do to get to this view, right? And you can see that now you can search by salary and those types of things. When we talked about this before and we were looking at this new job, now it's added the under 10 applicants, and we, could put in salary with a salary of, I don't know, let's say 100K or more. So we have to kind of know what to put into this search field to get it to where we want it to go. And you can see that it didn't do a great job. It's still giving me the salary ranges that aren't a good fit, even though I put that in there. Most of them seem to be on par. That first one isn't, but I didn't pay attention to see if they changed. So one of the ways that you can help your job seekers is to think, okay, here's what was in the classic search. Salary probably being one thing we want to keep. Maybe remote is something we could add in that more prompty type style of search. But here's the thing I missed the last time we were doing it. And I want to see if this is something worth doing. So because we're talking about AI, we're going to go over to ChatGPT and we're going to play around with how could we get a good prompt to achieve what we're wanting to achieve here in the search. So we're just going to play around with this a little bit. If you have ideas, put them in the chat. There's a little delay, but I'll switch back over and see if we can see them. So the idea is, right, I'm searching for product manager. And I want to find similar, but may not have the same title, using the new LinkedIn search. So this is one of the things that people are promoting about this new feature, is that now instead of searching job title, we can search by skills, and we'll get titles that aren't the same title that we were searching for, but are still things we're qualified for. I would love to hear a recruiter's take on this. Actually, I've read some recruiters' takes on this, and they're saying, they're still wanting to search by job title. There's pros and cons to searching, because their search has changed as well, that they're searching for skills instead of job titles. And they can search that kind of semantic search. I'm looking for someone who does such and such, instead of just even keywords or skill words. A lot of them are not impressed. That's what I've been reading anyways. But if you see other posts that say otherwise, always a good thing to look at that. But we're wanting to look at skills instead of job title. Let's just see what we get if we get ChatGPT to help us do this. And we'll try it out. I'm going to go back over here, and we're going to put this into LinkedIn. And this is that part of, will AI get it perfect? Will, ChatGPT get it perfect? No. Will I want to copy and paste directly? Maybe not, right? It might be good to go through and look at it, but I don't want to waste your time with that. It's giving us an idea, it's giving us a way to test it, and it's doing it fast. We could put in our job descriptions that we're targeting, outside of LinkedIn, obviously. We could put in the content from our resume, although be careful with that. Don't upload a resume. When you upload a resume, you're uploading the properties as well. Copy and paste and remove any identifying information. And so we got some information here: product manager, senior associate, integrated product manager. And what would be interesting to see is if we go back to the old version, do we actually get different jobs? Or is it same, and this just takes more effort, which is my current supposition, is that this just takes more effort, but it doesn't actually give us better results. But this is what people are saying, is that it could be helpful now to search by skills instead of just title. And we might pull up some things that we wouldn't have pulled up before in terms of our client finding these jobs. I don't know. What do you think? Do the skills piece make it easier? Does it just make it harder? How do we help our job seekers decide that? We've got another one here that includes the industry level. So the industry level was in one of the other prompts. So we're going to clear this out, and I'll put in this next one. And you'll see at the end, it says seniority, mid-seniority, mid-senior. I don't know if that's something that comes from LinkedIn or not. ChatGPT often gets those things wrong. But we could go back to the list of old search filters and figure out, is that the right term for the seniority? It's given us the idea. Now we could see, does that make sense? And now we've got a different list of jobs, slightly different titles, a few of those things we were seeing before. And then I'm just going to go back and see how that just differs from what we were looking at before. So these ones, product manager, that one's maybe a little lower end. So there might have been a few lower end ones before we added the seniority piece. Oh, nope, that same job shows up here. Is it easier? I don't know, but I would recommend capturing these pieces from the old one. So mid-senior level is how that was communicated. So I think ChatGPT actually got that right. Director, associate, entry level, right? Knowing these to be able to add them to your prompts will be important, as well as salary range and how that's listed when you use that. But part of me says, if we could use these filters and you could search by skill before, is the new one really any better? I don't know. I'll look forward to hearing your thoughts on that, because it looks like you could search by skill in the old version. You don't necessarily need this new version to do that. Now, what is important for us to think about, and what this big picture says to us, is we're trying to get away from titles. We're searching more by what the person does, the skills they have, the phrases that we're looking for, and recruiters can now do that as well. And as I was looking at some of the responses from recruiters, they're trying this out. They're seeing, does it get me better people or not? And they were mixed, just like my reviews are mixed here on the job search piece. Is it really different? Is it really better? In what way does it limit us that the old way didn't limit us? However, what we're seeing is that when people are searching, they are searching for ideas, not necessarily titles. What does that mean for our job seekers? It means that they need to think about how they want to be found and what they want to be found for. And this is the basic foundation of branding. that we've been teaching for a long time, that you all are doing with your clients as well. But now it's just more important that they are clear, which is the hardest thing. I don't care whether it's a coach, or a client, every person I've worked with, it is the hardest thing for them to do, to focus in on what do they really want to be known for. And without that clarity today, you will have a harder time getting found, because that clarity doesn't just go into these jobs features. It also goes into how people find people. And that's what we're going to look at next, is the people search part of it. Because when we think about how LinkedIn is surfacing people in their system, most of it is focused around this idea of what do you want to be known for. So the new algorithm, the 360 brew, this is one of the key things. And I love the Trust Insights report on this. You can download a report from Trust Insights for free on the LinkedIn algorithm. If you want more thoughts on that LinkedIn algorithm, we've got a few takeaways that we've developed. Let me know, send me a note. We're going to be charging a low fee for those, because they're things we've put together. And it builds on this idea of what do you want to be known for? And that thread has to go across your profile, your posts, your comments, for you to get found on that topic. So if you are bouncing around on your topics, which in the career space is kind of easy to do, right? We got resumes, we got interview, we got job search, we got all these different things that come under the umbrella of career work. But we have to be clear and draw that through line, or we're not going to get found. We're not going to be seen as an expert on any of those topics. Now, if you want to, focusing on one of those topics can be beneficial. And then you've got all the other things that you offer to support that. So if we're focusing, and some of our colleagues do this really well, they might even do it quarterly, where I'm focusing on resume topics for a quarter, then I'm focusing on interviewing or LinkedIn or whatever for a quarter. And we're rotating those based on the products, the services, the things that we want to do. That can be helpful so that you get known for something, and the algorithm knows to show your stuff to people who are interested in that topic. But it's that consistency through your posts, your profile, your comments that helps build all of that together. So yes, Hannah, this is critical. So before we go too much into the people search, so I've been deep diving, there used to be this GitHub resource where you could see all of the LinkedIn skills. That has not been updated. There used to be the site LinkedIn Explorer, which still exists, but it also has not been updated since, I would say, at least 2020. I started teaching in 2018, 20, whatever. It doesn't include any kind of AI. It doesn't include any of that. So it has also not been updated. I'll just show it real quickly because it can still be helpful. You just have to realize that it doesn't include the latest. It doesn't include the new skills. It doesn't include those things. So if we go to LinkedIn Explorer, and you kind of have to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. And I just Google LinkedIn Explorer to find it every time because it's this weird GitHub URL. And it does list the skills that are connected to, and this comes from the LinkedIn database. So it says which skills are connected to each job. The problem being that it hasn't been updated in at least 4 years. So it's not a bad place to go, but it's just not updated. So this is a good starting place. You come to LinkedIn Explorer, you type in the job title. We were working on product manager, right? So if I look at product manager, it will show me the skills. It will show me some related job titles, which then I could copy the skills from that. And I'd often have clients go through any of the related things they thought were relevant, gather all the skills, put them all in the LinkedIn or an Excel spreadsheet, sort, delete duplicates, all those things, which now AI would do for you pretty easily. You can gather all those skills. That's important. That's going to be where you start. Now, Hannah, what's interesting is based on this idea of more semantic or linguistic search is if they know there are some common terms in the industry that don't show up in those types of databases, they could add those to their profile, to their skills section, etc., and maybe show up in some of those searches that a recruiter would do where they're using some of that slang. So if you know your industry, or if you do the research and you find some of those terms, by all means, add those to your profile, and it could actually help you show up if they are things recruiters are searching. And that's what this all comes down to, is what do you want to be known for? Who needs to know you? And are you connecting the dots between the language they will use to find you and the language you might use to describe yourself? And then, of course, the other thing we can do is actually in your LinkedIn profile, you can, when you start searching, so if I'm going to go in here and I'm going to edit my profile, let's see if I get down here to this section, and you can do it in the skills section. It really doesn't matter. Where did I hide skills on me? There we go. So if I'm editing or adding a skill, there will be the drop down that pops up. So if I was doing product management, and I would recommend that we use AI, put your job descriptions in, get the starter places, and then come in here and choose the skills that LinkedIn suggests, because these ones are the ones that are in the database. So using the skills that it suggests, critical. Keywords are still critical. We have to go beyond that. We have to think about the bigger picture that I might be getting into. And again, that what do I want to be known for in a cluster, not just the keywords. And so, I've posted before that we're moving to semantic search, and that's less emphasis on keywords. It doesn't mean the keywords aren't still important, but like the keywords are 101, and now we need 201 if we really want to get found, because everybody can have the keywords, right? It's so easy to use AI, get a job description, mine the keywords, stuff them into my resume or my profile. It just makes you one of many thousands now. And so recruiters are going to figure out, and technologies are going to figure out, how do they help recruiters search better, search more specifically, use industry related terms that, a faker can't fake. That's what they're trying to do. And so, yes, you got the baseline keywords, you still need those, but it's this next level of, am I getting known for something that goes beyond the profile as well? Remember, it's profile, content, comments, and in whatever order that works for you. Usually I do comments first because that gets people warmed up, and then they can build into content. But all of those pieces have to come together into, what are you wanting to be known for, and that brand piece that runs underneath. Yeah, I agree. It's sad that they haven't updated it, but it's really obvious they haven't updated. There's no AI skills in there. There's no AI related jobs in there. But like I said, I just don't think that database has been updated for at least 4 years. Good starting place still, but it's not it's not the panacea that it maybe once was in terms of keywords and skills. Okay, so that is where we're headed in terms of the job search. Now, they have supposedly, and I don't think this is rolled out to everyone yet. I'm just going to test it and we'll see what we get. They're rolling out a people search that is similar to the job search, where it doesn't give you the same filters. Let's see what happens. So this was suggested in one of the articles, that instead of saying I'm looking for a resume writer, it would say, I'm looking for someone to help me apply to a product manager job. This, for us, is critical, even if it doesn't work today. Not just that you're a resume writer, but what are your industry focuses? What are your specialties? What are the places where you have the most connection? And start building content around that, because being a resume writer is not going to be enough anymore. The services page is getting closer and closer to being dead. Bots, just bots. bots trying to sell you things instead of actual people wanting resumes. And so as things shift, and you want to have that clear connection to people, you want to be able to outreach, but as well just be in those communities, you're going to have to figure out which communities do you want to be a part of. And that's the courageous part of branding that that we all need coaching to help get through, because it means you have to let go of something. It means you have to focus in and figure out, what do I want to be known for? Who needs to know me? What is that niche that I want to serve? And how do I get into and be part of and get found by those communities? So it's interesting here. It's pulling up no resume writers, right? We're just getting random product managers. No job search experts, no career speaking experts, marketing specialists. Now, this search is still the old filters. I don't have the new people search yet. I'll drop a link in the chat that explains where the new people search is going, very similar to the new job search we were just looking at. But this is the idea, is that they're trying to move their search to this, and will you get found when the switch happens? And beyond even just the search, are you being found in your communities? Are you getting known to those communities as a job seeker or as a service provider? Because that's how you're going to cut through the noise. And this is something that we started talking about a couple of years ago during one of our career jams, is that cutting through the noise isn't about more content. It's really not even about better content. It's about relationships. And how do you build community? And what type of community building is going to work for you? Like, some people have a Substack. Great. That's their community. Some people go live on LinkedIn every week, right? That's the community. You've got to figure out, you and helping your job seekers figure out what type of community is going to work for them. It's nice to do it somewhere public like LinkedIn, because then it's a double dip, right? You're getting the community, but you're also getting the visibility outside of that community on LinkedIn that you don't get if you're in a private Slack or whatever. Then, of course, there's benefits to being in a private group of an industry, because you build those relationships a little stronger. You have that opportunity to connect and in a deeper way than people are going to in a public forum like LinkedIn. So it's not an either or, it's an and, but it's all about, how do you get involved in those communities? And then your content, and it's just adding another C. Don't we love that? So then it's your profile, your content, your comments, and your community that are all centered around, what do you want to be known for and who needs to know you? So who's wagging me? I don't know. Is there a wag? I don't know what that is. Anyway, so when we think about doing that part of it, we've got a few things coming up that might be of interest to you. One, and I'll try doing this. Now, Denise, for some reason, we can't see your face. I don't know what's going on there. But Denise was going to come on and talk about, Denise had put all this work into a program on helping business owners figure out, what's your best service? What do you want to be doing next year? And it fit just so perfectly into the program that we have going next week. Next week, we've got our business boot camp. And if you want to join that boot camp, let me pull up the visual of that. If you're interested in joining the boot camp, now you're going to get this bonus of having Denise come in and share all of the work that she put into a process to identify, what do you want to do next year based on what worked in 2025? Because we want to move that, right? We want to move those strengths forward. And so if you're interested in joining us for this next week, it's a little boot camp to think about your 2026, to build your 2026 marketing plan as a business owner. You can join us for that. And the first day of it, Denise is going to go through her plan. Oh, there she is. Yay. Hi, Denise.
Hi.
You're going to go through your plan for evaluating 2025. Tell us more about it.
So I have been...
I can't hear you.
Hold on.
It may just be me. Keep talking. Let us know in the comments if you can hear Denise.
Can you hear me?
Anybody hear Denise? Keep talking.
Can anybody hear me at all?
It may just be me because it shows that your microphone is working.
Yeah, I don't know. Can anybody hear me at all?
Uh-oh, we might have lost it. Oh, good. Anthony says he can hear you. So go ahead.
Okay.
It might be me.
All right. So I am probably one of the worst offenders, go year to year. And I go, oh, well, it would be nice if I made more money last year. Or, I had this many clients, but how much time did I put in? And again, that's one of my, I'm a perfect example of what not to do. So what I started looking at when I was putting this presentation together was what could I be doing to really identify where my time is being spent? What services that I offer are actually the best bang for the buck as far as how much time I put in, what I get paid for it. And what I found as I started looking at this is I'm doing some things because I assumed I should do them and not because they add value, or they're things that I'm giving way too much away and not getting the compensation that I should for the time. So that's where I kind of started going through this and really looking at my services, what I'm offering, different things like that. Because when I started counting up how many emails I respond to, or telephone calls, or text messages that aren't built into my pricing, I realized that I am making less per hour than I thought I was. So this spreadsheet that I've created, the presentation and then the spreadsheet, really takes a deeper dive into, before I'd say, okay, I want to make this much, so I'm going to charge this much for this service. Not what am I actually spending my time on. So this actually takes you through and has you look at what did you anticipate the hours to be? What were the actual hours? How many clients? What about all of that time that you don't think about? That type of thing. And then, so we've got the ROI side. And then the other part that's becoming more and more important to me is the what's valuable, what's important, whether it's education, whether it's family. I tend to try and do too much. I'm going to focus on marketing, and I'm going to focus on this, and I'm going to focus on this. And then I don't do anything because then I get like analysis paralysis and whatever. So Marie's talked about this before, and Marie, I forget the gentleman who wrote it, but it's the 6 spokes focus that the ones I picked are the business operations, client delivery, marketing and visibility, financial health, professional development, wellness and capacity. Wellness and capacity is one that I fail at miserably. And when I started going through this spreadsheet to help me identify which of the areas, which of the spokes I should focus on, that one really kicked my butt and really surprised me that, yeah, I need to work on that. I would have automatically thought, business operations or marketing, but the thing that is impacting me the most negatively is the wellness and capacity. So that was a surprise. And then the last piece of it is where instead of saying, okay, I need to do these 10 things for my services, I need to do these 10 things for the spokes, there is a calculation in there to help you identify what's the top ROI one, what's the top spokes one. Let's just start, make it realistic, make it doable, and work from there. So it's really meant to help you focus and give you a spreadsheet and tools to do that based on data, not just intuition. So. Marie,
okay. I could hear you on the other thing, but thank you for sharing that. It's so exciting because it puts together the two pieces of how do we build our services, how do we get found, how do we make sure that we're being focused. And we don't want to focus on out of thin air. We want to focus on what we want to focus on, what was working, what needs to be built on. as I was looking at putting the pieces together, it's like, well, yeah, because then we're not focused on building a marketing plan for a service that was actually costing us money, like you said, right? Or for a service that was wearing us out because it takes too much time for what we're charging, or for a service that no one was buying. So I just took my purchase history, took all the names and emails and stuff out, right? I just took my purchase history with the item list, the things that people bought last year, and I put it into Gemini. And I said, okay, what are my best sellers from last year? What should I be focused on? And what didn't sell that I need to figure out how to repurpose, repackage, maybe eliminate or reposition, right? And so if you have a shopping cart system, or if you have an Excel spreadsheet where you track those things, grab just the item of what the person bought. I just emptied out the rest of the spreadsheet, uploaded that into Gemini, and had it help me analyze. I actually did it for the last 2 years so that I could see trends and what do I want to move forward. Because it doesn't make sense to put all this effort into marketing something that didn't sell. It's not going to sell next year any better than it did last year, right? And I think that's sometimes the hope that we live with. So, Denise, I'm so excited to hear that from you. The boot camp starts on the 11th. And we'll go through to the 16th, giving you some time to work on things and some time to talk back and forth. And anything you would add, Denise? I know there were some people signed up for your other event, so hopefully they'll join us for this one.
Hopefully they will. So I'll be communicating this as well. But one of the other things that I want to focus on, and I'm actually going to be doing it myself, is logging my information throughout the year. Not waiting till the end of the year and then trying to go back and, well, what did I do with this? Or what did I do with that? So really kind of taking these spreadsheets and almost turning them into a monthly or a quarterly.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing what you've created. Okay, sorry. I love it. Anyways, we're going to let everyone go. Enjoy your Friday afternoon. And if you have any questions or the discount code doesn't work or something, let me know. And we will see you next week for Trend Tuesday Live. And then hopefully on Thursday for the start of the boot camp. Thanks, Denise. Have a great Friday.
Bye, everybody.